Afternoon folks, welcome back to another film. So something a little bit different today. It's going to be the first film in a series. I'm hoping for it to be a long running series. So we're going to have a look at camera trapping. Now this is new to me, it's a new discipline. So when I thought about how to put the film together, or the series of films, I thought, do we just learn the skill and get really good at it and then show you all the fantastic pictures that we're going to get, hopefully going to get? And then I thought, no, because the idea of this channel and, you know, other photographers on YouTube is to hopefully teach you stuff. Now I want to show you warts and all, if you will. So we'll have a sit down. We've got all the gear set up down here. Now I want to start at the beginning. So we're going to talk about, you know, what camera trapping is and why we're actually camera trapping, why we're not just using, you know, conventional photography, but also show you, you know, the mistakes that I'm no doubt going to make, because there will be some, because it's not an easy discipline, and I've watched a lot of films, you know, I've done my research on it. One channel in particular that I've watched a lot of, a chap called John Formston. Now I'll put a link into the in the description, so if you're into it or you're thinking of getting into it, you might want to watch someone who's a bit more expertise than I am. So John's the man. He's done some great stuff and got some fantastic images, you know, foxes, badgers, buzzards, all that kind of stuff that we're hopefully going to get ourselves when we get off air with all the gear and that. So that's what we're going to do today. It's not going to be a dead long film, but I'm going to show you the gear that I've got and just have a chat about it, really, you know, the pitfalls and the pros and cons of camera trapping. So come along for the ride, episode 1. Right, we're all set. Got a biscuit and a brew. Let's have a natter. Pigs are back. Right, so what is camera trapping, or what is a camera trap? Now, I suppose you could call these camera traps. Well, they are camera traps, aren't they? These are me. All my trail cams, you know, they range from, you know, cheapo ones to these nice fancy 3G ones. But what these enable me to do, obviously I use these a lot. You know, I've got one out in the field at the moment. I found a squirrel up the top of the lane the other day, and I've just put it out on a post just to see if we can get anything coming down. So there's red kites knocking about and buzzards and whatever, so we've just put it on there, but I've also put a trail cam on. So that is a form of camera trapping, but it's not the kind of camera trapping that we're going to be doing. Now, the camera trapping I'm aiming for, I want high quality images. The thing with these, you know, they're poor quality, they're not good in low light, but they're a reference tool. You know, they show me what's been knocking about and they're invaluable for that. But the kind of camera trapping that we're doing, I want high quality, high megapixel images. Those of you that have followed the channel will know the trials and tribulations I've had trying to photograph badgers, you know, up in Lancashire. And, you know, I mean, I kind of know what I'm doing, and I really struggle with them. And I've, again, like I said before, I've looked at a lot of videos and seen a lot of people's work, and they've had some absolutely superb images using camera trap, you know, setups, and it's a completely different look as well. You know, the chances of you getting a photograph of a badger or a fox at night in its natural habitat, you know, with them short focal length images that give you that nice, you know, detailed view of the surroundings, and you know, they're not them close cropped in photographs that we generally associate with wildlife images. You know, your long telephoto lenses, they just give a completely different image, if you will, of the subject in its natural surroundings. The chances of you getting that are practically nil, to be honest, because you've got to get so close to the animals, and in the middle of the night as well, generally. So that's why I've decided to give it a go, and I've invested a bit of money in it, to be honest. You know, it's not a cheap setup to get going. So I mean, another reason, as well as being able to get them different looking shots, the time of year is perfect as well, because I mean, what we're on now, 2:45, and you can tell it's going dark already. So the summer months and spring and early autumn, you've got long days. You've got long days where you can be up at 4 o'clock and you can be still photographing practically at 10 o'clock at night. But this time of year, you've got a really short window of opportunity. So if you can set a camera trap setup and leave it for a few days, it's sat there and it's doing the work for you, if you will. It's sat there at night, and anything that comes by, it's you know, firing away, and you're potentially getting some really nice images. Now, I know it's never going to replace that buzz that you get of looking through the viewfinder, because that is priceless to me. It's gold. You know, when that subject comes into view and you're firing away, it's never going to replace that. You know, don't get me wrong, but there's another element to it whereby it's exciting when you're going back to your camera trap, if it's been out a couple of weeks or so. I mean, I don't know this yet because we've not got into it, but I can just imagine what it's like. You know, from watching other people's videos, it's that suspense, and it's, you know, have I actually captured anything? So that's going to be super exciting. When I was a kid, I used to do a bit of metal detecting, and it was the same buzz. It was, you know, you get that signal, and I found some really good stuff, but it's just that not knowing. It's like that Christmas morning feeling when you're opening presents and you know, you don't know what's under the wrapper, if you will. So, you know, that's the side of it that I'm really looking forward to, you know, putting that work in, because it's not simple. It's not just a case of chucking a camera down and you know, and expecting it all to happen for you. There's a lot of work to go into it, you know, getting the location right, and it's quite technical, especially with the flashes as well. You know, getting your light settings right, your depth of field, you know, there's a lot to look at. So, and you're going to be coming on the journey with me, watching all the mistakes that I make. So we'll have a look now at the setup that we bought. So I've lumped it all together in I've got this fishing holder. I think I'm probably going to change it, to be honest. I'm going to get a different rucksack for it, so that I can sling on my back. It's I didn't realise how much gear there were going to be, to be honest. So, and it's a bit heavy. So, you know, just over one shoulder. I'd rather have a backpack. So we're going to change that. But we'll have a look now at the setup that I bought, and we'll also have a look at the different camera options that we've got as well. Rightio. So this is the gear, all contained in one bag. As I said, this will change, but the gear's not going to change. Now, I think what we'll do, actually, we've got one of the mats here, link in the description below. Don't leave it too late for Christmas. We'll put this down here. What we'll do, we'll get the gear, put it down on the mat, and then we can see it all a bit clearer. Right, let's get on with this. Okay, so hopefully you can see us there, folks. First thing I've got down, I showed putting the mat down. Invariably, we're going to be grubbing around on the floor. That's why I've got this out camo jacket on. I don't want any fancy, you know, Paramore gear on or out like that. We're going to be in the thorns and, you know, in the thick of it. So, you know, put something on that you're not right bothered about. So, nice mat. You can kneel on the floor and you're not going to get your knees wet. All right. So, first thing, the camera housing. Now I've opted for the Camtraptions setup. I ended up buying, I think it's called the Wilderness Bundle, and there's a saving. You get all the bits that you need to start off, and then you can build up and add to it if you want to. So this is the camera housing. We've actually got a camera in there that we'll put to one side. We'll talk about the cameras in a bit. So that's the camera housing. It's got different lengths of tubes depending on the size of the lens that you want, and that's fully waterproof. It's got like a rain cover on there that protects it, and there's also a clear filter on the front. So we'll bob that there. Now all this stuff, I've made a series of pouches. These are all available for people to buy if they want to, but I just wanted to keep it all organised. So we've got a few different pouches. That's the main compartment. So first one, have a look at the first pouch. Lens cap, that's for the front there, just to protect that. And then we've got a whole series of transmitters and receivers. So altogether we've got, what have we got here? We've got 2 transmitters and 2 receivers. So I've got a 2 flash setup at the moment. That'll work for that lot. That's one bag done. Our second bag, all the electrical paraphernalia. We've got extra battery packs there. We've got batteries for the actual camera that we're going to use, so spare batteries. So really it's more of a power bag, if you will. Flash power cables, this will all become apparent, and various leads for connecting to the camera. So that's all in one, and there's also a battery charger there as well. That's the power bag. Now this one, this is all the mounts. So again, watching other people's videos, mounts are really important. Depending on the scenario where you set up, your flashes might want to be high up, they might want to be in a tree, they might want to be fastened to a tree. Again, different ways. This is a little tripod that came with the setup, a little Camtraptions one. There you go. And I've also got a series of clamps, so they're like a spring-loaded, like a big bulldog clip, if you will, but it's got a little ball head on the top, so I can attach my flashes. And then I've also made these up as well. There we go. So that is a screw eye with a little small rig ball head on it, so that can screw into a tree, attach the flashes, and you're good to go. And again, just stands for the flash guns. So that's the mounts. Also mounts, I've made this almost like a quiver, if you will, and that's just got my bank sticks in. I've got 3 or 4 of these. These are fishing bank sticks, and you can actually buy an adapter for the end, which will, it's got a screw thread on the end, so that'll take your flashes. Again, that's a small ball head, bought that off Amazon. Bank stick into the ground, and again for mounting your camo, sorry, not your camo, your flash guns onto. Right, that's that. We'll bob these back in, get everything squared away nice and neat. You know, as I was saying before, there's quite a bit of gear, to be honest. So when you've got all your set up, your camera's set up, you've got your flashes set up, how does that camera actually trigger? So we need a PIR, like on a security light that you have at home. You know, light sensitive. There we go. That's the PIR sensor. That's where the magic happens. So this detects the animal what we can actually do, we can alter that almost like a field of view, if you will. We can narrow it or widen it. There's these little doors on the side. You can see those. Yeah, we can alter them. We can basically funnel that PIR beam, if you will. So like that, we've got a wide open beam, and if we narrow it, we've got a very, very shallow beam. So it's quite precise then. So we can focus on that particular point where the beam's pointing. When something breaks it, it triggers the PIR, which in turn sends a signal to the flashes, which in turn sends a signal to the camera. So the camera and the flashes fire simultaneously, and hopefully they capture the image of your subject. So that's a really, really important piece of kit. That comes in a nice fancy wrap that comes with the gear, keeps it all bonny. There we go. So that's the main compartment, tripod wise. So you want your camera set up in this housing, and it wants to be sturdy. Okay, we've just got a look like a Swiss plate on the bottom there, and that just attaches to that. Again, the ability to be able to drop it down low. This Novo carbon fibre tripod, and again it goes really low down, so we can get it almost flat on the ground. That's that. Right, what have we got in here? Big pocket on the side. Again, another little pouch. Bits and bobs in it. Just spare batteries. Now, we bought one of these Nikon, again looking at John Formston's films, and he swore by this. I do not know how to use it at the moment, but I will do. This is going to be really important apparently. You know, it saves a lot of trial and error. So that's something we're going to have to learn. Now, clear bags, they're for your flashes. Obviously, if you know it's not going to rain, don't bother with them, but I ain't risking it, so they'll have them little protectors on them. Side pocket, flash guns. So at the moment I've got a 2 flash setup. I'm probably going to buy a third for some backlit images. There we go, that's the Z2. I think that's the most advanced one they do at the moment. So we've got 2 of those. These you can actually add an external power supply. They've got batteries inside them, but you can also add an external power supply. Sometimes people leave these setups out for months and months, so you want plenty of juice. And the last, in fact, talking about juice, these are the battery packs for the flashes. So again, little pouch made there, and that is the extra, that's the battery pack for it. So that'll allow that to run for months, loads of power. So you can basically forget about it. As long as you've got plenty of juice in your camera, happy days. Extension tube, that's for the housing. If I had a longer lens in, there we go, we can just extend that and it'll accommodate a longer lens. And I think that is it. So that's it. I lied. I have another receiver on the camera. So we've 3 receivers. Now, what I want to do now, that's the basic Camtraptions setup. That's the gear that we've got to work with. We'll have a look at the cameras. Okie doke. Right, so we've looked at all that paraphernalia. We want to have a look at the cameras now. Now, to be honest, it's all as important as each other. One doesn't work without the other. So, as I mentioned before, the whole idea of this is to enable us to capture high quality photographic images of wildlife that we normally wouldn't be able to get. You know, be it at night time or close up, etc, etc. So to get those high quality images, we obviously need a high quality camera. Now, these are all the cameras that I own. I only have 3 cameras now. I've got me. This is a Z30, so that's me vlogging camera. It's a Nikon vlogging camera. I don't use it a right lot now, to be honest, because I'm on the Osmo Pocket 3 and I've got my little Osmo Action 2, and this was my vlogging camera. I mean, you know, look at the size of it. I mean, it's not a big camera, but you know, we all handles on and stuff like that. So I was on about I was going to move it on, but I might just try it for the camera trapping, because the consideration is, right, the thing is with camera trapping, you've got to be really careful where you put your gear, because you're leaving it out in the field, aren't you? I mean, we're going to do this, we're going to do a setup in the next film. This is, you know, it's at my auntie's place, so it's enclosed, it's private, and even though it's private, I'd still be a bit frightened to death of leaving this out, the Z9, because you haven't got eyes on, have you? You know, effectively it's out in the open, and you don't know who's knocking about, do you? I mean, it's a really quiet place around here, but it'd be in the back of my mind, you know. So you've got to be, one thing you do have to be on the ball with is camo, you know. So you've got to, you know me, I love my camo, so we're going to be dressing these up big time. We're going to be really concealing them, because I know talking to John, he's had some gear nicked, and you know, it's terrible, isn't it? You know, that people would actually steal photographic equipment that's out in the field. So you've got to be sensible about it. You can fasten them down. You can. That's handy, isn't it? Helicopter. There's loads of helicopters around here. I'll just wait for it to go. I don't. What done with that? No, I've lost it. Yeah, I've actually bought a couple of these little walkie-talkies. I thought they might be handy, you know, if you're in a hide. But I've got them for when we move down there, because the phone reception is rubbish. We actually went down a couple of weeks ago. It was like going to Middle Earth. It was like Mordor. So, try them out. Give me love, any chance of a brew down here in the woods?
Jog on, you just had one half an hour ago.
Wow. I think I might send them back. Yeah, cheers for that.
Welcome.
Right, where were we? Z30. So, the Z mount camera, I've got this Viltrox lens. I've got a 13mm 1.4, which is an absolutely superb lens. It's an absolute cracker. This has been my main vlogging lens. The amount of light it lets in is unreal. So that's going to be, we're going to use that. This is the kit lens that came with it. So we've got a 16-50. Not the best lens in the world, but it serves a purpose. So that's an option. Now we've got the Z9. This is my baby, if you will. Now, I ain't going to be leaving this out. Not yet, anyway. Not until maybe when we've moved and I've got my own bit of land, and I know there ain't no one coming on there, but we will do eventually. I know we will, because it's got such a fantastic sensor on it. You know, I think it's 45 megapixels. The image quality is superb, and also we've got the eye tracking as well. So I've got a 24-70, a Z mount that I bought recently, in mind with, you know, with camera trapping in mind. So that's going to be a nice lens. It's a good focal length as well. So we'll put that to one side for the moment. So for now, I decided to go for a D610, which, you know, DSLR, it was cheap. I mean, I'm saying cheap, you know, it was still about 300 quid, like. it's still a bit of money in it. But if that was to get whipped, I'd still be mortified, because you've got all the associated gear with it as well. But it's a lot less painful than having something like that, you know, stolen. So that was just what I had in the back of my mind. I think it's 24 megapixels. If it's any different, I'll put it in the bottom, but there or thereabouts. And you know, we kind of get hung up, don't we, on image quality and megapixels. We always want more megapixels. But you know, when I had the OM1, that was, I think that might have been 20, something like that, and it was plenty. 20 is plenty. So 24, more than enough. I've got a 35-80 on there. I've also got, I think I've got a 50mm somewhere, a little nifty 50, yeah, in that pouch down there. So all the focal lengths are covered. And again, you move your camera, you know, nearer and further away, don't you? I mean, you know, it's got the zoom facility on this, so there's no issues with the focal length. So that's what we're gonna go with for our initial setup. And I think we've kind of covered everything really. Like I said, we're not going to get it set up in this film. I just wanted to show you the equipment that we've got. We're going to do something small. We're going to set up a log that I found. Now, I actually filmed this B-roll probably, I don't know, I bet it was 2 months ago now. And with, you know, with work and, you know, this, that and the other, flitting backward and forward, I never managed to get it done. So I'll put the footage on now of when I went and I collected some really nice logs and subjects for doing the camera trapping. All right, so we'll put that on now, have a quick butchers at that, and I'll have a brew. See you in a minute. So all I'm going to do, like I said, we're going to look for a few props to try the Camtraptions stuff out. And already I can see, I mean, look at this here. Brilliant. That's the kind of thing we're looking at. You know, decayed old trees with moss. It'd be ideal if I could find a nice root. I mean, oh, if I had a badger set up, I mean, look at that. Look at that there. Amazing. You know, you get a badger feeding on the... Oh. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, in fact, this is quite a nice one here. So, here we go. That's quite smart, that. That's the bit I'm looking at. So, might be a bit long though. Let's go and have a look, see if we can find somewhere a bit shorter. Let's have a look over here. So this is the kind of thing that I was thinking of. Something, you know, not too big, not too long. A couple of old. There we go. So we've got this old root. It's probably the upper part of the root system, but it's got these lovely channels in. So potentially, you know, you could set this up, maybe try and picture your rodents on here, but you've got somewhere to put a bit of food, and it'll be, depending on which way you orientate the camera, you're going to be able to manage to hide that food. You don't want to see food in a picture really when you're photographing, you know, stuff like this. You want it to look natural. You don't want it to look like, you know, there's bait in the picture. So I think we'll chuck that on. There's another one over here. I don't know if we'll get them all in trolley because it's a bit of a lump, this one. Let's have a look. Here we go. There. So again, there. This one is a lump. Might just for now, just take that one, we'll, there's no point taking two. I've only got one camera to set up, so we'll take that, set that one up, we'll chuck that in the trolley now. I might just take that longer one as well, because this is a bit of it's a lump. This would be nice with a badger on it, it'd be flipping perfect. I mean, look at that. Here we go, you know. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before we get the badgers, we'll try and get the rodents first. So let's get that in trolley now, get back and let's get set up. Don't forget to put a nice jacket on. Don't put your best paramo on. Rightio, so that was me trudging down the lane with me barrow and all my stuff. They're down here. One in particular that we're going to use. We're going to set it up in the back of this little woodland. That's going to be the next film. We're going to have a play with that light meter, have a play with the flashes, and see. We're going to try and just get some pictures of mice, I think, because there's loads of mice in the hedgerows. You know, we've open fields here and this, that, and the other. Who knows what else might come in, you never know. There might be a fox come down, but there's plenty of foxes knocking about. So that's the first film in the camera trapping series, episode 1 done. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, or if you want to see some more content, press the like button, hit the subscribe button. The subscription does not cost you anything. It's not a good word to use, subscription. So all it means is that you follow the channel. If you press the bell icon, you'll get a notification when the next film comes out, episode 2. And thanks very much. We'll see you. We're going to see you way before Christmas. We've got a move-in date, so we're hopefully going to be in before Christmas. Fingers crossed. All right. So thanks again. We'll see you on the next one. See you now.